Well, hello, everybody, and welcome back to the Dice Tower, and more specifically, to some crowd surfing.
Surfing the crowd.
That's how I surf every time.
Like that. Wow.
My name is Z Garcia.
I'm Camilla.
I'm Chris Ye. I'm not good at surfing.
You think you are better than the Gungans.
I would definitely try surfing, though.
That's from Star Wars.
Probably. That or Marvel.
Yeah,
I
it's
just
from Marvel.
assume at
Yeah.
all times
You heard of-
whatever you're saying is from one of those two. I'm
How
like, I don't
about
get
that?
it. Must be Marvel.
Okay, you know what? Let's put a pin in Marvel and let's talk Dice Tower West, okay?
Ooh, yes.
Dice Tower West, folks, tickets are on sale. You want to come out, you want to hang out, you want to be in Vegas, play all the board games, and more importantly, you want to get a deal on your hotel room. Yeah. And in order to do that, you got to jump on this early bird deal happening right now, happening through September. Do not delay. Check it out. What's the website?
DicetowerWest.com.
DicetowerWest.com. Check it out.
Did you still have to say www? Is that
Do
a
you?
thing?
No, I don't think so.
I don't know.
No, in fact, I think it's like more wrong to at some
dear.
points because websites have moved away from it.
Well, I apologize if I've ever led you astray because I definitely say www.
I still go to the World Wide Web.
Here you go.
Anyway, check it out. Dice Tower West, Early Bird Hotel Block, September now. Check it out. All right, let's do some shout-outs, shall we? These are Dice Tower backers, and we want to thank you with a little shout-out. I'm going to have a good old time with this. Shout-out to Dan Lisney. And then he wrote, rhymes with Disney.
But it's not.
You're about to get sued, Z.
Just for saying Disney? Yo, we got sued when she said Marvel, I guess. Okay, Dane and Linda Allen, Kelsey and Sarah Merlene. Rhymes with Merlene. Karina and Federico Gonzalez from Uruguay.
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
Uruguay in the house tonight. Josh, Sarah, Jaden, Karis, and Elijah Aldrich. Luke, Lily, Mandy, and Skylar Harris.
Heck yeah.
Stephen and Danielle. Taylor, Nathan, Tamsin, and Aaron from the land of the long white cloud. Do you guys know what that is?
No.
Hold
Land of the Long White Cloud.
I'm going to go.
Don't look at the comments.
It's,
Arizona.
I was going to say, it's got to be something exotic like New Mexico.
Yeah, right.
You got half of that right.
Just
New
Mexico.
Zealand.
Wrong half.
Old Mexico.
Yeah, not that half. New Zealand. And that's good. Let's end on New Zealand. That'll do it for today. Thanks, everybody. We appreciate you.
Oh, look at Mike Heller showing off. Pretending like he didn't Google it. New Zealand, baby. He didn't know.
All right, everybody. So there we go. Thank you once again.
Thank you.
Before we jump into some of these projects, let's also go ahead and take a look at a little highlight from Gamefound, who's one of our sponsors, and they got a new Lands of Galzir. I'm very excited about this. Let's check it out.
What? I don't know.
Today we're taking a look at Lands of Galzir, Dreams and Mysteries. This is an expansion for Lands of Galzir, which is a game that is very much adored at the Dice Tower. Look, Mike Delisio says, I absolutely adore this. This is a digital story game in which you have tons of cards. You can see them here in this description. And you have these different creatures that are going throughout the land. And this is a new expansion for it called Dreams and Mystery, which will just be very easily inserted into this game. If you've ever played Galzir, you'll know that you can add stuff very easily. This adds 2 new adventures, Noko and Umi. It adds extended personal stories for each of the adventures, along with new special abilities, and then a lot more other things. And all this stuff just gets mixed in. So if you do this, you can get just the expansion and this cute plushie. Or you can get the whole thing. If you've never played Lands of Galzir, I recommend you watch the Dice Tower review on it. And you can grab that along with this Dreams and Mysteries. And having played the game, I know that you can just slide that stuff right into the game. A bunch of some other stuff, stretch goals, and more. So this is on Gamefound right now. Lands of Galzir, Dreams and Mysteries.
There you go.
All right.
I want that.
Yeah,
I want that
absolutely.
now. I don't want to
I
wait.
want that plushie, particularly.
Plushie's cute.
All right, you back it. I'll let you have the plushie. I'll take the game.
I see...
It's a good deal.
I see
Just trust me.
A no in the
Just
future.
Magic 8 Ball.
All right, here we go. Let's start with Best in Show Dashing Dogs. It's a card game where you are training your doggies. And you are going to be playing cards, grabbing tokens, putting them on the doggies, trying to impress the judges over here on the side. Seems very small, I guess.
Right. I was going to say, it seems like a very family game night. It talks about how it can span the 3 generations, and I'm like, I could see that because it's very small, very basic. Not a lot of overhead, probably not a lot of depth either with that.
Sure.
A lot of randomness, but just bring everyone together for 30 minutes, because it's Monday night and your mom and dad make you, so you might as well play a game. It's okay.
A good theme to put on this, right? One that I've never personally understood. My mom would watch these like best in show dog shows, and I was like, "Where's the hoops? Like, where's the obstacle course?" Because I would conflate like the cool dog shows and the like well-groomed, well-behaved dog shows.
It's basically like beauty pageants, but for animals
dogs,
instead of like 5-year-old girls.
Yeah. Except 5-year-old girls never poop on stage.
That's true.
Never say never, I guess. Anyway, no, this one looks pretty cute, but it also looks very small.
Yeah.
All right. Next up, we have Chris. How do you say this?
I didn't look it up.
Did you just text your mom and like, Mom, they're gonna ask me?
My family's Korean. That's what this. If you're not aware. So Godori, Hwatu, something along those lines, right?
We'll go Godori. Yeah. They also say "go stop" in the story a few times. The person who's writing this up says "go stop."
That's the traditional card game.
Okay.
That's the one that's been around for I think like over. Around 100 years or so, and that's what they say like, oh, that traditionally is made with like a plastic deck of cards. And I thought maybe you're using the word traditionally different than I usually say it.
Yeah. Well, they're like tiles almost, really. They're kind of like thin tiles. I think it's sort of what they are. But here you're getting sort of a spin on that, a modernization on that a little bit, but they want to teach you this sort of hard to understand game because there's a lot of scoring. Like most of these traditional games tend to have a lot of scoring.
Right.
And so they're giving you both a plastic deck, I guess, but also a normal, like thin cards, shuffle,
paper deck.
Paper deck, yeah. Illustrations seem really nice. I don't know the game, but this seems like a lovely way to get into this classic.
Yeah, I think for me that's the thing is I think it looks gorgeous. I think that if you wanted to make something that was introductory for people, then maybe you would have this, and then maybe you'd have a version that has like indexes on the cards.
Yeah, I agree.
Because that's this chart.
Looking
right
at this right here,
yeah,
this is what the deck is composed of. It's a deck that has 12 suits. First of all, and so each one has 4 cards, and it's tough to learn. You have to kind of know it. There's no index, like you're saying. Right. So
it's a celebration if you know the game, you like the game, you have a history with the game, or you really like card games and things from all over. It's a celebration, I feel like, more than an entry point.
Yeah. And that's the thing for me. I went through this. I tried watching John Gets Games, had like a 50-minute long video.
Yeah.
And he's like just in setup. He's like, okay, I've dealt out the cards. And, or he's like, in the act of dealing out the cards, I revealed a lucky card, so that interrupts the deal, and we have to go to this step now.
Wow.
And I was like, oh, man.
Yeah.
I think the good thing they did really well with this is that they provided 2 player aid cards per person. That is that chart of the suits.
Yeah.
That's a helpful step.
Yeah. You need that. Like, I need to be able to identify picture to picture what the card is.
Right, especially in a game like this, you don't like, hypothetically, if I had, this isn't me playing a social deduction game.
Right.
Swirly, black branch, purple bird.
Right.
Is that November?
Right,
yeah. But lovely. Looks really, really pretty.
I agree. Very pretty.
All right, next up, we've got the Great Commission strategic card game. This is a co-op tableau builder, as they're saying here, that has a Christian theme on it. And in the little description of the video, they talk about it being strategic. They talk about it being sort of a tableau builder. You're, engine building a little bit. That's what you're doing. This is strange to me that it is a signed. I get all the other ones. 90 minutes, 1 to 4 players, ages 8 and up. Weight 2.8.
I agree. That jumped out to me as like,
whoa.
Right.
That's not a thing. Like, that's a very... I'm assuming they're basing it on, like, Board Game Geeks.
I assume so, but, like, if you're...
Super informal.
Right. I mean, if you are a Christian, game night and come across this, you're not going to have no idea what that means. And it's like out of 10?
Out of 100?
Like, what? Where's Uno?
I would, honestly, as a non-gamer, I would see that and go, that's a physically light box. Is that in grams? It can't be grams.
Ooh, that's
It can't be pounds.
Is it 2.5 pounds? Yeah. That's what I would assume. I really would.
Right.
That's a weird one.
I agree.
Also, if it's 8+, I can't, again, Son's not a deep gamer, but I can't see an 8-year-old going 90 minutes in a game.
I agree.
Sure. No, I get that.
Time.
This seems like a lot more going on.
Yeah.
Especially a card game like this, where you have a hand of cards, a secret information. There are event cards that come out face down, and you have to spend some of your favor to flip that over and see what the threat is. And each unflipped over one then adds to the, degrades the health of the church. And it's just, there's like a decent amount of concepts going on in this for saying 8+.
Right. And that being said, I think that's the point for it being 8+, because all those concepts seem pretty neat. And I do like the art of this. It's a lot. It's definitely something different than we see. I mean, there's some like bloody scenes, which are true to the time and probably the situation, that are a little bit not quite gruesome, but still it's not what you typically see in a spreading the good word, kind of card game. So I really thought it was an interesting take, and I like it, but it might not be in everyone's taste in that realm.
I like the artwork for sure, just looking at this.
Yes.
I like the heavy lines.
Yeah.
I really do like that art style.
And the bloody head.
And the bloody head that catch me off guard, like in the video, like in the pan down. I'm like, oh, he's holding a dismembered head.
Decapitation.
Which is
that's how they did it.
Again,
Yeah, when they say like religious persecution is the event card, and they're like, they mean it.
Martyr. And you're like, oh.
Got it.
Yeah. No, it looks interesting. I would try this one, but I couldn't get a good feel of it. They have a download link for a like how to play guide, and that was far more helpful than the page.
Yes.
And I think you could have put some of that on the page, and that would have made this more apparent what the game is.
Yeah.
And I'm curious about this one.
Yeah.
Okay.
All right, well, before we go on, let's go ahead, folks, and jump over to good old Mark Streed.
This spotlight is brought to you by Barrage. Get the exclusive storage solution for all content related to Barrage and expand the gameplay variety with 2 new companies. Barrage is a resource management strategic game in which players compete to build their majestic dams, raise them to increase their storing capacity, and deliver all the potential power through pressured tunnels connected to the energy turbines of their powerhouses. The new Legendary Box offers room for the base game and all expansions, allowing you to organize all components in a space that contains the whole world of Barrage. And now there are 2 new companies which have unique characteristics. The Japanese company uses bases and elevations inspired by the Earth-filled dams. With a special technology to build dams, Japan will create extended production systems on the map. The Brazilian company specializes in versatility. Bases, elevations, and conduits can be built in the order of your choice. Brazil will generate a fast and powerful income. And now in development is the 8th company and new map, which will all fit in this new storage solution. A storage solution specifically designed for easy setup of each component. For more information, please check out the campaign, which is now live on Kickstarter.
All right, let's go from Barrage to Caca. This is Litter Tray, a fast-paced push-your-luck card game about cats and poo.
Did you watch the whole video?
I watched most of the video.
I did too, because I kept waiting for like, okay, there's got to be something else. Oh, nope, same thing. No, okay, one more card. Okay, nope, I could have watched 30 seconds of it.
Mostly just talking about poo.
Yeah, I was like,
he's very charming. He's a charming man. He's a reviewer. They they basically stuck a preview video as their video. That's really what that is.
Okay, I don't know.
Because I've met that guy.
Okay,
interesting.
yeah.
Okay.
I don't know where, and I apologize for not remembering, but that's really what they did. They basically were like, this is a good preview Boom,
it was a
that's our
super
video.
charming one, but it was one of those I was
Yeah.
like, as someone trying to glean something, like, ooh, and then what? And then what? Oh, there is. That's it.
It's a very straightforward
Yeah.
push your luck game,
Yeah,
right? You
yeah.
flip over a card, you roll a die or two, and you put poop in these poop trays or whatever, litter trays. If you have to put one again on one, you bust. Otherwise, you score them. And you're collecting feces as like your victory points. I'm not sure I get that.
That is the point of owning a cat, isn't it?
Yeah. Collecting feces.
Yeah. It does have the player elimination, which for such a light game is like, oh man.
I don't think I got to that. What?
So if you have to put a second poop in a tray, then and you can't pay 3 of your poop,
you're out.
then you're out. Unless you have a scooper.
That did seem like a pointless
but it's
rule,
like,
to be fair.
there's nothing else?
It almost seems like you get 2 knockouts before you're out, maybe. Like, I got to spend my... Thank you for remembering the word scooper. I was going to call it a spatula.
That's good.
I was like,
Gross.
Not to be confused with your hamburger spatula.
Yeah, it just seemed like a weird little rule. Like,
it did, yeah.
Instead of doing that, just give everybody 3 to start with.
Yeah.
It's literally the same thing.
Right.
Everybody starts with 3. You pay 3 if you bust.
And then, you're set back. But maybe that's the same, I guess.
kind
If
of
you
the
had a little
same.
scooper, you're just it feels like you're wasting the scooper. If it happens to you second turn or first turn, something like that. So anyway, that being said, that's super nitpicky. This seems like a very light, meant to be silly and make poop jokes kind of game.
Right. Multiple projects. Like the first one and this one created by people who clearly love their pets. And
Yes.
This guy started an animal rescue. You know what I mean? So things like that. That's awesome.
Yeah.
People should make games about things they're passionate about. Even if I look at them and I'm like, I don't know if it's for me.
Right.
But it might be fun. It might be more fun than I assume.
And it makes me think if it's sitting on a Target shelf, 90% of kids that walk through there are going to pick this up and try to slip it in the cart.
Yeah.
I'll be like, maybe she won't notice.
I could actually see this game with how simple it is. Maybe not this look, because it looks very personal. I don't know what the word is for that. It looks indie. Maybe that's the word I'm looking for. But I can see this game doing well from like Hasbro. They're always looking for, poop games are really popular. They are.
Yep.
And this
Poop
would
games
sell
and
well
drone games.
at, like, if actually Exploding Kittens bought this game,
Oh,
they wouldn't have
wow.
to change a whole lot for this thing to
Yeah.
hit Target shelves and sell pretty well.
It'd be their number 2 bestseller.
I think so. Right after throw the cat out. Anyway, moving on. The Season, 2nd edition.
We're seeing a lot of games with this theme.
I'm
They're
so
still
fancy, marry me.
Yes. What is this called? Regency.
Regency era. Yeah, we're seeing a lot of timepieces, kind of period pieces. That's what I'm trying to call it. Period pieces.
Timepieces.
Timepieces. I was like,
that's
nope,
different.
that's not what I'm looking for. Yeah, we're seeing a lot of those because we just played that other one at the retreat, where you're trying to kill off your husbands. You want to marry and kill them.
Dowries.
Dowry
dastardly
dodger.
dastardly dowagers.
Something like that. Yeah.
Which was just fun. Anyway, so we're kind of seeing a rise of this, and I think it's neat. I think it's an approachable thing. It's been broken to be approachable now. Not just like, oh, you're the single middle-aged female who reads these novels, So I think it's really cool to see it kind of on a rise here. This one looks interesting. I was pretty on board with this actually up until it got to the point where I realized that it's directly from the novels, that it's pulling the direct names from Pride and Prejudice, from Sense and Sensibility. I was like, oh man, I wanted it to be more generic or open-ended.
I agree with that, I think. And the artwork, I don't like the look of that stuff. Yeah, you want the inspired by, not copy-pasted.
Right.
Right, and that's what the game that you championed, Obsession, did really well.
Yes.
And this one, I mean, I think that was like a Jane Austen expansion or something.
I think, but I wasn't quite clear on it.
Jane Austen expansion.
Yeah.
Still weird. I don't want to mix those things.
Right.
I like the idea of living in this world. I don't want it referenced specifically like a novel or whatever. That's
I want to live in
maybe.
The world, not the book. I just hit the mic. Sorry, not the book.
But then I'm going to make things go my way, okay? Mr. Darcy, he's going in the lake. Right? I'm going to marry
Someone's seen the movie.
Yeah, I'm going to marry my really obnoxious but loaded cousin. It's going to work out. Okay.
I gotta watch this movie.
You need to watch the movie. All 7 hours of it. I don't know how long
jeez.
it's.
Oh no. Wendy likes the Keira Knightley, the cheat way.
Oh,
watch it
I'm
like
not a fan of
just
that
under 2
one.
hours.
Yeah, no.
Like bam, done.
No, see, but I'm a North and South fan. That's definitely my go-to one.
North and
Over.
South to me is a
That's
'90s
a good
miniseries
one.
about the Civil War. So I was talking with some guy one time about how his wife loves North and South. Like, I love North and South too.
She's into that, huh? That's cool.
I like
Anyway.
the look of that.
Oh,
game.
I like the look
goodness.
of it, and I do like the theme of it. It seems like not a pasted-on theme. It seems like the game was built around the theme. You know, really trying to meet your social obligations and building your outfit to go to the ball. It seemed pleasant.
What did catch me off guard though, I looked at the Board Game Geek page and it says 90 to 120 minutes.
Yeah.
Oh.
It
I
does.
wasn't really expecting that from them.
I definitely was
seems long.
expecting 60.
Yeah, it says 90 to 120 right there.
Oh yeah, it is there. Yeah.
Wow. I was thinking
Yeah.
60 to 90, so that's interesting.
This was not doing it for me. I'm not feeling it. Obsession seems much more interesting to me than this, and even that dowry one. Or
Yeah.
whatever.
Well, I feel like those are the two extremes, and I definitely thought this would be in the middle of those two, and it's not
Yeah.
at that time length. I don't know. So anyway, I would try it.
Barrage, we already saw from Mark there. He talked about it briefly, but we've got it right here. So this is the legendary box. I laughed and laughed when they do that video animating all the layers jumping into the box.
Oh, I know.
Because I'm like, surely this is the last layer.
You fool! Have you learned nothing?
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Good night. I hope that you don't forget one thing on the bottom one after you put it all away.
Or you find
That might be
you
like
find
a
that
game
one
ender,
piece,
you know
and
what I
you're
mean?
like, no one's ever playing yellow again because I'm not unpacking this.
Oh,
you know,
Put that
I'd
in
be
a
like,
bag, put it on
nah.
top,
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. Now, I've never played. Have you played, Chris?
I have, yeah. I like this game. I really enjoy it. I've only played it once. It is maybe not as mean as the reputation gives it, but I would
Okay.
never play this at two people because you are redirecting the
Oh,
water
you want it
and
higher.
stuff. I would prefer this with more people,
Got
yeah,
it.
because
Okay.
like you're more likely to benefit if other people are redirecting things. You're like, ooh, that incidentally helps me. 2 players though, you're like water comes to me and not to you.
That's it, right.
Oh, that's brutal. Yeah.
Yeah.
My concern with this, I feel like it is specifically for people that know and love Barrage. It kind of reminds me of the Everdell Big Box. That was my jump in. Finally, I was like, you know what? I played Everdell. I like it. This is where I'll jump in. And I kept it for a couple months and instantly sold it because I realized did not get to the table because I didn't have that like love and understanding of all the expansions before I got it. And I wonder if this is going to be that. It's going to actually keep it from getting to the table because it's such a big box and so cumbersome with all the different layers and everything. As a jumping in point if you don't have that love and that background.
That always throws me off with these games. If somebody is willing to throw this much money at Barrage, don't they already have it? You know what I mean? Didn't you already get the base game at some point? Maybe an expansion, and now you hit me with this, but it's filled again. Like, am I meant to buy the base game again?
Is there not an option for just the box? I guess
I don't
didn't
know.
look at the pledge levels.
Yeah, I don't know.
Because
It's
I can see if
possible.
you do love Barrage and you want this, it's like, hey, it's time to replace my copy anyway because I played it so much. But if you can't get just the box, then yeah, that's a lot of ask.
Look at that. That's insane right there.
Something Mike Hellers said, because we had this topic on breakfast, right, was when do these boxes work? And one of the things he said was like, if this is your lifestyle game, and for some people Everdell is their lifestyle game,
Sure.
then it works, right? But for me, or for, as a jumping in point, it usually doesn't work.
Right.
And I think that for the people, because there are people who Barrage is their number one game.
Absolutely.
They play it weekly. They have their group. And so, cool. This looks fantastic for them.
It's making money. I mean,
Right.
I love this right here. The goal was $11.
Oh my gosh, no. If we can just get one person or 11 people to do the $1. Josh here, he says it's $79 for the box and the new expansion. So that
All
is
right,
good. So
then
it
that's
doesn't
something.
require you buy everything.
Everything in. Yeah,
That's good.
Yeah.
Up to that point.
It's making bank, too, so.
Yeah.
All right, next up, we've got the Fisherman, Captain Mako. This one looks weird to me, guys. I'm not sure what I'm looking at.
This one is one of the biggest cases of amazing art and bad graphic design.
Yeah,
Yes,
kind of
yeah.
running at each other and just weird
But
it feels like a lot of the pieces were done at different times by different people, maybe.
Well, it seems like some of it went beyond prototype and other parts didn't. Like the little rectangles there for your standee felt a little like, ooh, white back. At least make it blue sky background or something.
Yeah.
You know, it felt a little. But I will say, I like the idea of you're going out and then rolling dice and drawing from a deck to see what you fish. I kind of like that random, hold your breath. Oh, let's try casting deep and see if we can get something. You know, I thought that was cute.
I think something you said earlier, like this looks, and I'm not using this word meanly, but like from the design things, from the graphic design stuff, it looks amateur. Like someone made, this is their passion project, but has an amazing artist. And so I kind of expected the rest of it to be like more in depth. And it seems fairly approachable.
Yeah.
And then I read that it has a campaign mode.
Yeah, I'm just so confused by this. I also don't think, I think the artwork is good. I just don't think the artwork fits this game whatsoever. It looks
That too.
terrifying almost. Like it's too serious.
To be fair, the deep ocean is terrifying.
That's fair, but this
100%.
guy, where
Top
is this
three
guy? Like
fears.
this. That seems like a tremendous pirate game. I know he's wearing the wrong hat, you know what I mean? But doesn't that artwork, that screams classic oil painting, and then the rest of the game just doesn't fit that.
This is a Call Me Ishmael kind of a painting.
It is. Yeah. I'm very, like, this one seems like it was designed by 12 people that have never spoken. That's the feeling I get.
Yeah. I can see
So, yeah, I wasn't really feeling this one. Again, very small passion project, I assume, but it seems a little lost. It got lost at sea a little bit for me.
I definitely think with the mechanisms of this would be a try it for me. You know, like again, I really like the randomness of and two, that has that almost semi co-op feel too, where you might encounter your ship comes, lights on fire, and so the other players come and help you and get a boon, and you get some shared resources, whatever, or do they come and just like loot you, and then it's like it just seems like maybe some swingy fun. It would be I'd try it. It has me intrigued.
That recent game we covered, Deep Regrets, I think it was called.
Yes,
that one blows us away with a fishing theme, but so much more personality.
Yeah, I got that. Yeah.
All right, here we go. The Quest Kids, brand new expansion, Realms of the Kingdom. And this is one that I know Tom, I wish he was here for this one alone, and only for this, because it's the only reason I wish he was here. Let me make that very clear. I'm very glad Tom's not here right now. Anyway, let's move on. No, I'm kidding. So Tom loves this game. He's given it a seal of excellence. He's played it. It was his #1 experience that year because he played with the kids. I don't know very much about it. Have you guys played this?
I have, yeah.
Oh, okay, I have not.
You have not played?
No.
It is an incredibly simple game where it's kind of this dungeon crawl themed game. Everyone's like, the little barbarian and the archer, the ranger and stuff, and you go through, and then you have to have enough cards of the different resources to overcome a challenge. If you can't do it on your own when you reveal a card, then other people can help. And it's one of those games where helping, throwing your cards at other people, gives you these rewards on the side. And those rewards are great. And so I think for the fact that this is age 5+, I think it both fits that age extremely well. It teaches so many games for 5-year-olds. You're still kind of working on like take turns. Follow the rules.
Help people. Right.
And this one makes that like help other players feel super natural and it makes it feel very natural.
Not supernatural.
And exciting.
And then the zombies.
And I think it is a fantastic kids game as well.
That's great. And then expansion adds a new player, or not an additional player, not like a 5th player, but like a new playable character, right?
Well, there's already so much for this game. That's what's wow. Isn't there there's like a ton. The Quest Kids and then the Big Bads and there's a lot of it.
And there's
like
the Giant Edition.
I've seen that box.
Right?
The Big Bads came through here because I remember seeing that.
Yeah, there's the Giant Edition where you are the player pieces. You can walk it. You know what I mean? Tom showed that one off on a video.
Really? That's crazy.
And they have the other stuff on here. The thing that I would really like would be the playmat, actually. Because it's cards dealt out face down. There's easy, medium, and difficult cards. And so you see what they are based on their backs and stuff, but you have to pick them up off the board and flip them over.
Yeah.
Give me a playmat for this, and I would be
Especially if
I
it's
would be thrilled.
Especially if it's card, not a tile, because you don't have that heft behind it, and then moving. So yeah, put it on playmat.
There you go, like playmat, Chris.
Mm-hmm.
Gotcha.
Very cool.
And it looks like they have cardboard versions of the cards as well, of the tiles.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I mean, they kind of like beefed this one up.
Nice.
And I would personally prefer that over the cards are this big and you're the player pieces, but that's also a fun gimmick.
Yeah.
Yeah.
For sure.
All right. Sneferu, Builders of the Pyramids. This one seems like a very small game. It's doing, a very meager business, I suppose, but I think it fits the size of the game because it seems like a really tiny, very straightforward little game. The kind that always sort of surprises me when it goes to crowdfunding. I think it's hard to break out, in crowdfunding with a game like this, but it's really just a little board. You move along it, and then you have the pyramid, and you put these little domino-looking pieces in the pyramid and match sides.
Right.
That was kind of it. I looked like that was it. Yeah.
I think it has time track mechanism where you move down the Nile River. I think based on like based on where you grab the tile from, what's the time cost, and you want to try to land on certain spaces or be further ahead or back. Yeah,
there's a time and a resource cost for that piece that you take right there that we're seeing. So there's a time and a resource cost, which is going to move you down the Nile. Depending on where you line up, you're going to get additional resources, that kind of stuff. It seemed, but like you were saying, pretty straightforward.
My first thought on this was, I was like, this almost sounds like Knizia designed it. Right, like
it does have like an old, it has an old timey vibe to it for sure.
Yeah, like is that all? Is that all the mechanisms? But what are the interaction points?
And again, this is the kind of game that I think should just be published. Did they shop it around and no one wanted it, or did they just not even bother? They're like Kickstarter.
Who is the company? Because it is a small one, and if it's their first one, maybe it is like, no, we need to get the cost to produce it.
It is Talama Games.
I don't know that.
So
I wonder if it might literally we need the funds to hit print.
That's fair, but then this is the kind of game that you take to
you pitch
a company.
Yeah.
Because it seems like it might do well.
Yeah.
I think it might do better than this much money. And these people need to be the ones to produce it and bite into that money and, all of that. Anyway, the game looks cute, small, nice artwork. It's got the Micho artwork.
It has the Micho behind it, too. So they went with a known artist,
That might be a big chunk of their money, honestly.
And I think it's nice because it doesn't look like every other the Micho game, right? The character cards a little bit.
Right.
Yeah.
But I looked at them and I was like, oh, that looks like the Micho, but not immediately. That's the Micho.
Yeah.
And so I was like, it's a softer look for him, I think, or something, which was really eye-catching. Kind of reminded me of the new Creature Caravan from Ryan Lockett, how you're like, oh, that looks like Ryan Lockett's artwork, but a little different. Yeah. That's kind of how I felt. I'm not an artist. I can't tell you what's different, but it looks a little off for him in a positive way. Unique, I should say.
There we go. All right. Here we go. 100 classic card and dice games. Now, when I saw this cover, I figured, okay, classic card and dice games. Makes sense. They're putting together a book of this. I'm sure they exist, but fine. But then you read a bit, and they're pitching these as classic card and dice games for you to use in your D&D campaign.
Yeah, I thought that
was... I'm like, wait, what? They're like, yeah, isn't that obvious what we meant? I'm like, not with that cover, it isn't.
No, this looks like something I bought at a bookstore in the 90s.
Right.
Yes.
Like, I have books like the Hoyle's.
The 70s.
Hoyle's Cars game. Yeah, I mean, but no, the idea is, you want to take a little break from your D&Ding. You want to take a sidestep. You're hanging out at the tavern, and instead of playing some weird made-up game in the tavern or nothing at all, here's a bunch of classic games from our history.
Right.
Cards and dice. The illustrations look lovely. The whole thing seems, look at that. That's looks wonderful.
It's very, very pretty.
But
doesn't match the outside.
I wish the outside
pitch
looked
is
like
a little what's confusing me. Yeah. Also, you got to put this artwork right here on your cover.
On the cover.
Not that terrible, gift wrap cover.
Yeah.
Oh gosh, yeah.
My goodness. Yeah, I don't know what they were thinking here, and the pitch again is very confused. But can you imagine playing D&D? You get to the tavern, and you're like,
The game's
now we take a
euchre,
break.
son.
Now we
Right.
take a break for Crazy Eights.
Yeah.
Like,
or roll a D100. Roll 100 die and see
Yeah.
what game you're playing. Yeah.
Oh, interesting. When people do that with like Three Dragon Ante, a card game made
for
Right,
that.
yeah.
doing that. But it's funny. One of the example ones here was Farkle.
Oh.
Yeah, they roll 6 dice. Ones are with 100 points, 5s are with 50. 3 of a kind. And I was like,
Yeah, it's like, come on.
Okay.
that would be a little bit.
Or like war. Right here is war.
Oh,
You
yeah.
literally flip a
Wow.
card and play war.
And that's fine.
I don't want to do that with a deck of cards from our world. I just wouldn't like that.
Yeah, and I feel like this is just giving Tom ideas for the RPG, so we should
Let's
move on
move
real
on.
quick.
Moving on. Winter Rabbit, a semi-cooperative game set in the world of Cherokee animal stories. This one has an interesting look to it. I was charmed by this one.
Very much. Yeah.
I think it's gorgeous. I think that the story behind it is great.
Yeah.
And the fact that they made this game that works with it. And I just sit there and think, oh, semi-cooperative, right?
Okay,
I know,
I thought
I
that
don't
too.
know.
But the semi-cooperative, I guess what saved it when I realized that it's whoever wins is whoever contributes the most. So you want to contribute. I guess it kind of makes sense in the theme of the game. It's like you all want to contribute, and it's not, well, whoever cuts the other person off the most, for their own advantage. It's not that. It's if you contribute the most to this tribe, this society here. I really liked that. I thought that fit the theme well.
Well, I think semi-co-op, we need to be careful about what semi-co-op means. And semi-co-op, in my opinion, does not mean that everyone can lose. That's not what that means. A game doesn't make a game semi-co-op. You know what I mean? This game doesn't sound semi-co-op. I contribute, and if I do it the most, I win.
Right.
If we somehow fail to do enough of it, we all lose. Okay?
It's more,
Semi-co-op is more like, at some point, I stop helping you.
right.
Or I change my objective. The objective here always seems contribute the most you can.
most.
You might all fail, yes, but
And you're all
your
contributing.
goal doesn't change.
Right. Kind of like you're all getting points in a regular game. You're all contributing.
Right.
Whoever just does it the best. So it's like of competitive nature.
Yeah, and
You know?
I couldn't get a read. Is someone at some point going to say, well, I'm going to start stealing the food reserves and
I
and
couldn't
sabotaging
figure that out either.
So no, because the tokens, I believe, are drawn randomly, so you know if you have that rabbit one or not. But it's when you get that, you have that choice to make when to use it and where to use it and how to use it. But it's
Right.
not like you become a trader for the rest of the game. It's for that
Right.
one round. So I think it was one of those, I was definitely on guard and edge when I saw that. I was like, oh, but the more I read about it, I was like, I think it's mitigated pretty well within this theme. Not mitigated, I guess, but done well.
Yeah, the whole thing looks really neat. Has a very interesting theme. The card design looks cool. Plus, these people made another game called Churrasqueria. So they can do no wrong.
Yeah, no, very interested in that one.
Now, this is another one that Tom would be losing his mind over, and I'm going to call it right now. This is Tom's pick of the week. I don't
Did we
care.
record one? Okay.
I don't care. You know.
It just
this
is. He'll let me.
Yeah, do we have that? Go ahead.
Booyaka.
Spoilers.
Tom's pick of the week.
We made
is
it official.
Dungeon Treats.
I completely missed this project.
You haven't seen this?
I did not see this project.
Oh my
Tell
goodness
me more.
me!
Looks
This
delicious.
is the ultimate D&D candy making kit. So basically, you're going to get molds, and you're going to be able to make D20s and chocolate or gummy.
Ooh.
You'll be able to make dragon heads, dragon eggs, dice sets that are jiggly. They show you on the plate, and they're like, like that.
Just like that.
The whole
the
thing is
sound of a
basically
challenge.
this is a stretch goal. Stretch goal of a gummy owl bear. Look at that. Look how adorable
That's
that
some
is.
really good
He
lighting
is.
to show the detail on
It
that.
really
'cause I've
is a
never
good picture.
seen a gummy bear that.
Jacked.
Well, it's also
is the-
this big. No idea.
If it was brought to you by Simon, then yeah.
Yeah, right.
Look at that. The whole thing. It's a very fun-looking project.
This is fun.
Yeah.
And this is what I'm talking about. You get to the
Okay,
yeah,
now.
right.
Okay.
You get to the tavern, and
Yep.
instead of playing War or Crazy Eights, you partake of some yummy candies.
This would if I were a DM, and I pretty much never will be because of just the time commitment.
Yep.
But that would be fun.
Oh,
like,
yeah.
to have a scenario where you're like,
go.
you sit at the tab, what do you order?
Yep.
And then you have people order stuff, and then you just like throw it at them.
Right. Yeah.
That would be.
Like, here's your menu. You guys come into the inn. Here's your menu, and then actually bring it out.
My
I'd be
gosh.
like, that'd be such a cool moment,
Oh my
Tom.
goodness.
So much so that if he just did it in the campaign, I'm sure that all of you would be like, "Wow, this was a great idea of yours."
Wow,
Like,
this makes me so happy.
Yeah, this one looks really fun.
I agree. Yeah.
All right, next up we've got Pest, Guilds of Thokaia. Expansion and a second edition printing of Pest that I've never played.
No.
I vaguely remember seeing that cover and that logo, but I've never played this game. Have you played this?
I don't think it's come through yet, which or
Yeah, I don't recall
Or if it did, it came in and went out quickly. Maybe it was right around the time of Essen or something like that. But yeah, no, I don't think I've ever. I know I've never played it, and I don't think I've ever seen it because it definitely would have been one that I would have zoink taken home.
Zoink is the sound.
Zoinked.
That's the sound of me stealing. Zoink.
Got it.
Okay.
Yeah, this looks
Should
neat.
play a rogue character. Zoink.
Zoink.
Who took what?
Yeah,
I
say
don't
it out
play
loud. Yeah. This one looks interesting, like a big Euro game, and I like you said, as I'm looking at the page, I'm like, oh, Camilla, I think would like this because it's a thematic Euro game.
Yep.
And I know you like that.
That's my jam.
It's a Euro game with all those Euro game trappings from the looks of it, but
Not
it's
a
very
small
much
one.
steeped. Yeah, not a small one. Steeped in a theme, in a something, not just somewhere in the Middle
I don't
Ages.
want to farm.
These people are farming
Nope.
human
No,
bodies.
they're not.
I don't know what's going on.
No, I like this a lot. I really liked the part at the bottom. It's. I think they buried it way too much in the campaign here.
Very
But like,
buried,
what
yeah.
is different in this one and the second between the first and second edition?
Okay.
Having not even played the first edition, I'm glad to see that and see that they have taken feedback. The design changes they've made. I don't know what it means, but that just really instills some confidence in me that it's not like second edition, just second printing. Yeah, we knew we had these problems, but too bad. You know,
Here's an
I liked-
expansion. Yeah.
Right, here's a new expansion, and so I really liked that they did that. Again, I don't know what they mean, but no, it seems like it has a lot going on. It's definitely you're managing your workers, sending someone out to the town, holding someone back to cure diseases, taking care of your patients.
Yeah.
A lot going on. Yeah.
I mean, even
definitely
just
looks like
watching the video, you're
a
like,
jam.
there's a lot happening.
I'm like, oh wait,
Yeah.
there's more.
But
you
it
know?
seems like if you like games that have kind of a phase structure where each phase doesn't seem overwhelming,
Yeah.
it
Yeah.
looks good. It
Yeah,
looks
yeah.
really good. I saw it set up at Essen last year. I think maybe a close to finalized copy.
Okay.
So I was really hoping to play this one because I'm looking forward to it.
Yeah, I like it a lot.
Very nice. Okay, and we have one more game project here, the big one for the week. Cyberpunk 2077, the board game.
Huge.
Making $3.7 million so far. Now, this is from Go On Board, so a different Cyberpunk game than the Simon Cyberpunk game that was crowdfunded and came out some time ago.
Right.
This is a new game that is much more sort of minis on a map, shooty, break in the door and, attack and what have you. So the more traditional, I guess, miniatures game. With a twist on top of that made me personally go from hot to cold real quick, and that is that it's got a real-time element.
And I think it made me a little more excited because it's like, oh, it's not just Euro. It definitely gave me kind of that little Project Elite feel where you talked about the phases, and I love phases that feel different. I love real time when it's in short little burst, specific time constraints where it's like, go, get as much as you can done, and then you break and then kind of do the cleanup, the maintenance phase, the evaluation, that kind of stuff of what's going on, the readjustment, if you will. And I like that a lot. So, no, it has me interested more so than the Simon one because of that.
Sure.
It seems a little more heart-pounding, a little more
Yes.
investment. And I like that.
Well,
It's a smaller scale.
It's also
Yeah.
more about upgrading and more about story moments and
Yeah.
stuff. And it shows like the whole story deck and based on options, different outcomes come from that. You can slot in these different upgrades. They're like microchip themed, and
Yeah.
for me, this looks like it leans into this theme better than the CMOD.
Yeah.
it's pretty much not even fair to really compare the two because they're just different games. CMO's like an area control.
Very different, right.
Dudes on a map game. And I thought that one was pretty fun.
Yeah.
But this one, if that real-time hook works for me, this one looks really exciting.
Yeah.
I like everything about it. I think this is a good-looking game. But I watched a playthrough or piece of a playthrough with the designer and some other people, and I love the explanation. I love the idea. They're leveling this up as you take down the little tracks. The cards you play, you now do multiple lines, not just the top one. It all sounds very interesting. And then they start to play, and all of that kind of falls apart because they're like, go.
But, I mean, to be fair, if you watch someone play Project Elite, if you watch it played to learn to play, you're going to be so very lost. You know? And that's, I mean, even to the point that when I teach Project Elite, I teach it, and then we do one round really slow where we're all kind of going through and getting it. And I'm like, all right, we're all good. We understand. Completely reset and start over.
Rewind, yeah.
You know?
Nobody else affects me, I guess, in Project Elite while I'm in it. I can just keep rolling. I can just keep rolling and do my own thing, right? Is my point. I don't have to wait on you to fumble your cards or like take too long to decide something. And I'm like,
okay,
you're taking the same time we all are taking. You know what I mean? Like
this one has that shared time, which is
yeah.
Right. And I will agree with that. This one I think would be much higher player dependent. Because if you do have that person that's like, no, I won't go until I completely maximize this, roll the dice, but let me shake it 15 times first. And you're like, oh my gosh, there's a time limit. Drop the die.
Because it's real time, but I don't...
Got it.
Like, once I'm done, then Z goes. Once Z is done, then you go.
Yes, keeps going.
And that's, in theory, really interesting sounding.
Yeah.
Depending on the players at the table, really infuriating.
Right. This would be the game that you hide in the back of the shelf when certain players come. You're like, oh, no.
It never showed up. My pledge
so crazy.
never showed up.
I saw you painting it last week. What?
That was somebody else's stream.
Tom made me do it.
Yeah, this is the one that I would obviously be interested in playing. I am interested in playing. I like the theme. I like all of that. It's the one I'm the most sort of scared about, hesitant about. I hope I like it, but man, I don't know. Anyway, that's going to do it for our game projects. Let's go ahead and before we look at some silliness, let's jump back to Mr. Mark Streed.
Streed.
There it is.
Button.
There it is.
Okay.
Let's go.
Button.
Let's go.
Okay.
Hey folks, welcome back to another Dice Tower preview recap. I'm Mark, and of course I'm here with Alita. And we just have 2 games to look at, so let's get to it. And first up, we have Cyberpunk 2077. Now, this game uses an app, but it's mostly just used as a timer and for some thematic story bits. But the time pressure in this game is real. So you'll be performing your actions as you're moving around the board, interacting with areas, attacking enemies. And when you do attack enemies, one of the neat things is they've got a counter on their base that you can rotate when you do damage and so forth. So, and various different types of missions that you're going to be going through. Also, there's a ton of thematic flavor to the game through the app, as well as what you're doing out on the board. And our last game is Gems of Eurydice. Now, this is a really interesting game. You're collecting gems. You're moving up through the different terrains to find the gems, and you can mine for them as well. But there's a marketplace, so you will use that marketplace to gain more money and the different types of gems that you need in order to complete artifacts and different set collection. All different things around this game to give you points at the end. So you have a lot of options as you move through it. Then for my pick of the week, this was not an easy pick for me because Cyberpunk 2077 definitely right up my alley. Cooperative game, card play, all kinds of neat things here. But I'm giving it up for Gems of Eurydice. It's a very unique game, a very beautiful game, and how you create sets for the scoring at the end, as well as just moving up the track to get the different gems and collect them into your cargo holds is just something that's really fun. And I like manipulating the market in this game, and it has become a mainstay at my house through plays, and it is frequently asked for on game night. Alright folks, if any of these games look like they might be of interest to you, please check out our full previews. And if you want your game featured as a Dice Tower preview, please shoot me an email. Alright folks, until next time, we'll see you at the table.
I was scared.
That T-Rex was really like getting up on the camera. He's like,
Completely missed Mark. He missed the mark.
Completely missed him. I get it. Okay, here we go. Let's talk about some weird, funky things. And don't forget, if you have any of these you want to send us, Send them to tom@dicetower.com, and we just might feature them. Again, this is other stuff, weird, wacky stuff. And we're going to begin with the Pong VAAKA, the coffee and tea balance, where artistry meets precision. A meditative exploration of the balance between coffee and life.
This is so
Could
fruitful.
coffee people be
This is
any
so
more pretentious?
That is
It's
the
a scale
word.
from the 1800s.
You know what? You know what this looks like to me?
A scale from
No.
the 1800s.
But also, like, if you're buying a home, you've gone in and it's been, like, completely staged, you
Oh,
know?
yeah,
or, like,
yes.
an Airbnb, you're like, oh, okay.
Yeah.
You know, yeah. This is a total staging thing.
We get grief every time we make fun of like snooty coffee people,
Yeah.
but like it's the marketing is what it is.
It
That's
is.
what's so
That's what it
snooty.
is,
yeah.
Is the like, yeah, this is a scale. And yes, it is also it looks like that kind of generic like model home, show
Yep.
home thing.
Yeah. Very sterile kind of look, you know?
My favorite part though is the fact that in the video every time it shows him actually like trying to measure stuff out,
it's terrible.
it's not balanced. Like he just keeps pouring and it keeps leaning into the coffee side. He's like not using it as a scale.
Right. It's also just like on his fingers, like one of those balancing birds, you know? And he's like, good enough, didn't fall. It's like, yeah.
It doesn't seem like
it's-
that scoop, this part, the main, receptacle
Yeah.
with the thing going in the middle means that you have to do this careful pouring. The beans barely are in there.
yeah.
The whole thing.
Does it come with tweezers to take the beans out individually?
Right,
to get
like
the
if I go
perfect,
over,
you know? Like, how
what do
get
you
it
do
out?
if you
Oh.
go over? Not once do they show you what happens if he over pours.
Right.
At that point, you're like, well, I guess I'm making a little more because it's fine because 2 extra beans in the grind isn't going to change that
Right.
much.
It will imbalance your life.
This is
Your
wild.
entire
This
life.
is so wild. I love also how they're like, it's also great for traveling. No, this is terrible for
Yeah.
traveling.
Yeah.
This is unwieldy. This is something you set somewhere because it looks funky and it's a conversation piece.
Right.
You don't take it backpacking.
No, you put it in your little Airbnb. You
Right.
Know,
And
with-
people are like, ooh,
Oh, that's adorable.
coffee, love life, like, yeah, sure.
Right.
You know?
Yes. Hashtag blessed. Absolutely.
This is wild. Here, this is one quote that I loved from an outlet called Perfect Daily Grind. VAAKA combines a scoop, scale, and contemplative tool to ensure precision and consistency when dosing. Ooh. What? Is that what we're
Oh,
calling?
dear.
Drinking
Oh
coffee? now?
dear. I mean, if it's Joey, I call it dosing. Yeah.
Yeah, it's
The chat that's saying like this seems like something Joey would own. Let
Oh,
me
did
tell you
they?
something about Joey, right?
he would own everything.
He
if
would
could.
drink dirty water that looks like coffee.
He's
If
the one who
it's-
comes to the office and we have like the variety pack and he's like, I wonder how this one's gonna go.
That's true.
Yeah.
That's fair.
And we're all like, Joey, that smells like poo. Don't drink it. It might be toxic. He's like, yeah, it's pretty bad. And finishes it.
It's fine.
Yeah.
It's fine.
Yeah.
All right, next up. Fund vocal research with the Charismatic Voice, which I guess is an outlet to study vocal research.
Right.
And they've done this thing. They're raising quite a bit of money, actually.
Have you watched this YouTube channel?
No.
Okay, so the Charismatic Voice is the lady who's
Yeah.
featured throughout it. She's talking.
Right, she's right here.
She does.
There.
Yeah. So I've watched a lot of her videos.
Okay.
She does, the hook because YouTube you have to have a hook, right? Opera singer reacts to Disturbed, right? Ooh, ah, and so
Yeah,
she'll
right.
sit there, she'll like listen through, pause it, and then be like, "This is what I'm feeling. This is what's interesting. This person has really great sustain in their voice. They have these interesting qualities."
Right.
And so it started off as kind of like a joke where her-
Reaction. Like,
Reaction channels are huge.
Yeah.
Yeah.
yeah, her fans were like, "Hey, you should listen to like this metal singer and see what you think of it." And the first video, she's just like, "Ah!"
Yeah.
But she's done it for years now, and it's really fun. Like she did when Disturbed did the Sound of Silence. if
Yeah,
you've ever
great
heard that
video,
cover.
yeah.
It's amazing, and she has such great insight because she's a trained vocalist.
Right. But she also talks to me. She actually kind of references, I don't know if it was that exact video, but that experience in here. She's like, I used to think that metal singers were destroying their voice, but then we
Yeah.
put a camera down their throat and watched the chords. Like, no, they're not. It's actually this. And again, I do not know anything about vocal cords, but you know the fake folds that what they call it, like the fake folds, and they're like,
together like this.
basically they're mutants, and
There you go.
the slappy folds.
Anatomy with Z Garcia. Your vocal cords. Vocal cords look like this when you go.
What if you go?
They go like that. but it doesn't hurt you.
No.
That's what we're finding out today.
When you go full metal, it's just your vocal cords coffee grinding.
Yeah. You scoop it and you measure it, and then they grind it down.
Balance in your
This
life.
seems interesting.
I want to see the research though. Like
I know,
this
that's
made
the
me
thing.
instantly interested in the science. I was like, oh, I want to study vocal cords. I don't really, but I want someone else to do it and tell me all about it. So it's very interesting.
I'm feeling the passion. I'm feeling the interest coming through.
Yeah. She was very authentic.
Yeah, and it's hard, of course, because it's that kind of thing where you give them money for research and then you wait. This is for philanthropists. Is that what I'm? For people who is that what I'm thinking of? The right word? The people who are like, investing in various things. You are investing in research. It's a long-term thing. So you're not really. This is not the kind of project you back to really get a reward. You're investing in something.
It was really interesting, the $750 reward tier, where you send in a clip of yourself and they'll do like an in-depth analysis of your voice, like what your strengths, what your weaknesses, how you're good in harmony, you're good in this. It was like, that's pretty cool. Like just send a 10-15 second video in and just like get your detailed report, you know, kind of like your DNA testing, like your voice testing. I was like, that's pretty cool.
Well, it's interesting because there are rewards on it. Yes, like in theory, you're just kind of donating for goodness, but there's also some cool stuff where like you get access to more of her, this lady's videos, and I said they're really good. I love watching them. Some of them you can go get the camera shoved down your throat as well.
Oh,
and you can see your vocal cords.
I'm there.
Okay, no, just send me the video. I promise I'll use it for good.
All right, here we go. The last one is LeShuffler. Fair shuffles, deals, and games every time. This is a card shuffler, but it's made in France. It does say that. It's also
a card shuffler.
It's also
$600.
Oh!
That's the early bird, the super early bird, or Le Super. If you get it later, it's $640.
Oh, you suckers!
You want a
coulda had
double
it
pack?
early.
A little bit over $1,000. The whole thing just seems wild to me. I think they're selling you here on like sort of an artisan nature to the whole thing. You know what I mean? This is very much like a boutique item almost.
Right.
I'm assuming this thing is made very carefully from space parts, aeronautic, machine grade aluminum or whatever. It seems okay. That little screen isn't screaming to me this costs $600.
No.
I do like that you can
single dial.
Yeah, it seems like an old radio. I do like that you can open it. They make a big deal that you can just sort of flop the front open. Where was it? Over here somewhere. They're like, you can just crack it open, flop back flop open the front, and you can get in there if like it tore one of your cards apart or whatever.
See, that's actually scares me.
Do that.
I'm like,
because they do that.
No.
You know what I mean?
If we ruin your deck, you can fix it.
Yeah, exactly.
It's like,
It also makes it look like a cheap receipt machine from like Best Buy.
Absolutely. This is repurposed from, a Michael's store that closed down.
This just seems so crazy to me. It's so expensive.
Yeah,
this is to me like the high-end coffee scale that we just saw, right?
Yeah.
Like there's card shufflers. There's just like scales that you can do for like kitchen scales and stuff.
Right.
That works.
Right.
It's fine.
Here's what doesn't make sense to me, and maybe I'm wrong. Anybody who is into poker, let's pick poker, this much that they would buy a $600 card shuffler is an amazing shuffler. Because they play poker, I'm guessing, 5 times a week.
Right.
They don't need this. This is like selling the coffee person Insta-Keurig. They're like, no.
Yeah.
Are you crazy? My goodness. No, I need to grind it myself. I got to do.
Yeah.
So that's the mismatch. This is for the wannabe poker guy.
Right. Yeah.
It's like if I throw $600 at this thing, maybe I'll be good at poker and somebody will come over. You know what I mean?
Right. Or the novelty thing you put in your poker room and don't use. You want this little like retro look with the single dial and the, but you don't use.
Mike Heller makes a point that most card shufflers are extremely loud. And so maybe that's this main one's selling point in its chart of its many features.
Yeah, where is that thing? Here we go.
Decibels listed?
Noise level, yes. budget card shuffler, no noise level, and the Shuffle Tech ST1000, the one that turns into liquid metal. Also, no noise level. I love how there's an extra symbol. Actually, they don't explain any of the symbols, but I love how this symbol here just means like a... we don't...
Maybe?
100% randomness. Reliability is a maybe. What does that mean? Is it a reliable or not?
Right, that's not...
Maintenance.
It's not gray.
We're not sure if you can maintain it. You're a slob. We're not sure if you can maintain it. But for the budget one, not available. Yeah. The data's just not there.
No, you could not possibly find out.
Anyway, yeah. This is wild. And then when I got to this part, that's when I was like, wait, hold on. This thing is $600?
Oh, right.
And then I scrolled down on the side and I saw that. Are you kidding me?
Oof.
My goodness.
Yikes.
Anyway. All right, folks. Well, that's everything we're looking at today. We're going to jump into Picks of the Week. But before we give you ours, we're going to go to Mike's Pick of the Week.
Delicio.
Hey there, everybody. It's Mike Delicio from the Midwest Annex. For this week's Pick of the Week, I'm going to go with Sneferu, Builders of the Pyramids. Not the most original theme, but hey, there's lots of fantasy games, there's lots of other types of games, so I'll give them this Egyptian theme. It looks like a puzzle type game. I really obviously like the art because the Micho did it, and I tend to love his work, so that's going to be my pick for this week. It's kind of a tough week for me, quite honestly, but this one has got my interest. Let's see what's happening down there in Florida.
All right, guys,
pick.
who's going first? Is anybody picking LeShuffler?
No, sadly not.
Okay.
Sadly not. No, I'll go first then. My pick of the week, I think, is going to be the Quest Kids. The Quest Kids is one of the expansion
The
there.
Quest Kids is this one right here.
Yeah, no, I think that, you know, the game is, the basic game is good. And even with the expansion stuff, I think what Tom said is it doesn't age it too high. The biggest trick is if you're backing a game for your kid to play, it's going to take a little bit to arrive.
Yeah, I know, right?
So I don't know if the new expansion ages it up more or not, but I think that the add-ons and stuff like the playmat and everything look really cool. Yeah, so this one gets my nod for this week.
Very nice.
Very nice. Me?
What do you got?
Oh, this is a really hard week. I'm actually split between two projects, but I will give the nod to Pest.
My goodness!
What did you hover over?
I
what
was
did you
hovering
think it
over
was?
Cyberpunk.
Really? Oh, okay. No, that was in the running too. But no, it's between this and the Cherokee one. I was really charmed by that one.
Oh my goodness!
But no, Pest for
fair.
me. I really am I love the theme, like you said. The theme meets a Euro mechanisms, a lot going on. Doesn't seem like the theme, based on what I was seeing, it's going to be pasted on. It seems like they knew what they wanted the game to be as they were developing it. And I'm all about second editions that are second editions, not just reprints with a couple tweaks. I mean, it sounds like they took a lot to heart, and if so, I'm very much behind and on board with this one. Super excited.
Well, this is mine also, Chris, so if you want to throw me on there as well. Yeah, this was mine. I didn't realize you were picking this. Actually, it did not. I figured you were going to go for the Cyberpunk
All right, well,
one.
then I'll change my pick.
Your pick was the Pest. This
cool.
looks interesting. I'm digging the look, the theme. And watching the explanation, I thought it was really interesting that they were like, you can develop technology in this world and you can send people to heal or roam the land helping people.
Yeah.
You develop these, hospital. Like the whole thing just has a real, like this. There's a lot going on, but if they wrap that around reasons to exist, the explanation can come from a place of theme. That might be a fairly easy game to learn then.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
I think my biggest concern right now is the readability. There's a lot of dark on dark right there. And it's I'm still totally behind it. And it's like, hey, they take that in consideration as legible. I am 100% behind this.
It also has this mechanism from like Targi or Nova Roma, which I really like.
Oh, yes.
Yeah, I forgot about that even.
The worker, where you take the two actions. Oh, I'm excited about this one.
This was also almost my pick. I kind of bounced between this one and Quest Kids. But This looks incredible.
Yeah.
Well, there we go. All right, folks. That is going to do it. That's going to do it for us today here on Crowdsurfing. Thank you very much for tuning in. Don't forget, we've got, as I mentioned at the beginning, we've got a nice early bird block going for Dice Tower West. Check that out, okay, dicetowerwest.com. and get your ticket for that event. We've got tomorrow Smorgasbord in the morning, a top 10 in the afternoon. So and I think that'll be it for live. There's also Mike, though, playing The Elder Scrolls Betrayal of the Second Era.
Nailed it.
Yes. What do you call it?
Tess is normal. The Elder Scrolls is Tess.
Botsy?
Tess Botsy.
Botsy. Tess Botsy.
Tess Botsa?
You're so cool. You're so cool.
Botsy, yeah.
Yeah, something
You're
like that.
You're so cool.
I know. I'm in the know.
Mm-hmm.
You're so
Catch
cool.
up, C. Garcia.
Yeah.
All right.
I've got that Riz.
Okay.
Bye.
All right. Anyway, that's it, folks. My name is Z Garcia.
I'm Camilla.
I'm Chris Yee.
We'll see you on the next one. Take care. Hey folks, thanks for joining us for that video. If you haven't yet, like the video, subscribe to the channel, and hey, make sure you check out What's Happening, where I'll cover an app on an iOS or a Switch device, and you can check it out along with me. Thanks very much. You've been watching The Dice Tower.